Good evening from Los Angeles. New details tonight about the multi-million-dollar bonuses paid to AIG executives, provoking, yes, more outrage tonight. New details about when the president found out about them, including that the top recipient took home more than $6.4 million, the top 10 a combined $42 million, and that 11 people who received such retention bonuses are no longer even with the company. But in our fifth story in the countdown, how much of the outrage is really over the scandal, and what is it worth if nothing actually comes of it? Minus any reform, could outrage become the new empty buzzword of the financial crisis? The wealthiest members of AIG's financial products subsidiary in London getting even wealthier, according to new details about the pay packages released this afternoon by New York State Attorney General Andrew Cuomo. In the letter he today sent to Barney Frank, chairman of the House Financial Services Committee, Mr. Cuomo concluding, quote, "These payments were all made to individuals in the subsidiary whose performance led to crushing losses and the near failure of AIG. Thus, last week, AIG made more than 73 millionaires in the unit which lost so much money that it brought the firm to its knees, forcing taxpayer bailout. Something is deeply wrong with this outcome. By pouring so many billions into AIG, the first $85 billion on September 16th, more than 3 weeks before there even was a TARP program, the U.S. government, in effect, now the majority owner of this company. This afternoon, Congressman Frank saying, since we own it, we should act like we own it.
We own it, and I do think asserting our rights of ownership strengthens the legal case. I think we should be suing to get those bonuses back, not as the government that gave money to this private entity, but as the owner.
Republican Senator Chuck Grassley with a more radical permanent proposal, one he suggested during a radio interview, that AIG executives should enact themselves.
That would make me feel a little bit better towards them if they'd follow the Japanese example and come before the American people and take that deep bow and say, I'm sorry, and then either do one of two things, resign or go commit suicide.
Senator Grassley quickly backtracking, saying that obviously he did not really mean that AIG executives should kill themselves, but he still wants them to apologize. Then, as if it could not get any worse for the Iowa Republican, he said this.
It's irresponsible for corporations to give bonuses at this time when they're so sucking the tit of the taxpayer.
What the senator from Iowa meant to say was less colorful language coming from the congressman, Eric Cantor, part of the rather late-to-the-dance effort to blame the bonuses on President Obama, a senior GOP aide telling Talking Points memo that two freshman Republicans at the direction of the Republican whip will introduce a bill to direct Treasury to recoup the bonuses. Exactly how, the aide did not say. Democrats in the House and Senate wanting to tax the money back. Democratic leader Harry Reid announcing that Senator Baucus will be drafting legislation to impose an excise tax. Senator Baucus saying he's in the process of finding out the highest excise tax he could possibly excise. President Obama himself making no comment about AIG today. His chief spokesman, however, questioned about when Obama first learned about the bonuses and why he did not discuss them until the contractual deadline about the bonuses had passed last week. White House Press Secretary Gibbs declaring the president satisfied that he found out about the bonuses in a timely manner.
Yes, the president is satisfied. The president will not be satisfied until we've exhausted every avenue that he instructed us to yesterday. And the president certainly won't be satisfied until moving forward we have a change to the way we do business in Washington, change to the way we do business on Wall Street, to ensure that there's a financial regulatory system that's in place in order not to find things like AIG happening again.
The Associated Press, by the way, reporting at this hour that it has one source who says the president first learned of the AIG bonuses last Thursday. Some legal questions about all this in a moment. First, the political ones. Time to call in our own Howard Fineman, senior Washington correspondent for Newsweek magazine. Howard, good evening.
Hi, Keith.
AIG wrote the bonuses into contracts in March of 2008. And the previous Congress, the previous president, previous Secretary of the Treasury started feeding AIG money in September of 2008. And apparently, according to the AP anyway, the president found out about the bonuses last Thursday. So explain to me how the Republicans, as implied by what Mr. Cantor supposedly said, how are the Republicans going to try to make this into Obama's fault?
Well, they're going to try for no other reason than he's president and the somewhat hapless Tim Geithner is Treasury Secretary. But I don't think it's going to fly because most of the American people are aware of the fact that the attitude of Washington toward business and toward Wall Street in general was, for the most part, until 5 minutes ago, pretty coddling. You know, they treated them with kid gloves. Here, can't we give you some more money? We don't want to intrude upon the prerogatives of the private market. We don't want to nationalize. Can't we help you in some way? Can't we change the psychology? That's a bipartisan thing, and I must say Republicans were in the lead for most of the last 15 years in that attitude.
By the way, the AP also is now quoting Rahm Emanuel as saying that Secretary Geithner's job is not in jeopardy over this. But all that being taken into account, if you are the White House, will simply saying, well, they have really good contracts, our hands are kind of tied, the president is satisfied, is that going to fly? I mean, does retribution and reform of some kind have to occur and have to be seen occurring at the direction of the White House?
Yes, it didn't fly. It was shot down, by about noon on Sunday. After Larry Summers, who's the in-house version of the Treasury Secretary, said the contracts are sacrosanct. Sorry, there's nothing we can do. The reason why Rahm Emanuel had to come out and issue a statement saying that Tim Geithner's job is not in jeopardy is because his job is in jeopardy. Because certainly within the Treasury and probably the Fed, they knew full well exactly what the terms were of giving these new bonuses to AIG. As a matter of fact, congressmen like Elijah Cummings up on the Hill last December were talking loudly about this, complaining loudly, even before Obama got to town. So it's not going to fly, and I'm told tonight, after talking to some Senate Democrats, they really are going to push the tax thing, Keith. And to answer your earlier question, I was told that they think they can tax 91% of the bonuses. Why it's 91%, I'm not entirely clear, but the Senate works in mysterious ways.
As does the financial sector. One of the arguments, though, about those bonuses is they've been recast as retention devices that needed to help keep these executives in place. Is that now officially utter bullcrap because so many of them apparently left after getting the bonuses?
Well, they left, and another bonus isn't going to keep them there, number one. And number two, in talking to people on the Hill, one of them I talked to was Senator Maria Cantwell, a Democrat from Washington, very knowledgeable about business, built up her own business. It was a great entrepreneur on her own before she got into politics. She's on the Finance Committee, on Commerce, on Small Business. She says that's baloney. I mean, really what it's like, Keith, is like saying the person who wired the booby trap can't be prosecuted because they're the only ones who know how to unwire the booby trap. There are police bomb squads, if I can pursue the analogy, and she, among others, says that that's baloney. There are other people who can figure out how to unwind the complex derivative insurance contracts that AIG wrote by sort of sprinkling holy water of their AAA insurance rating on these crazy instruments. There are other people who can do that besides the people who are at AIG.
Besides which, AIG apparently devised retention bonuses in which you get the bonus, but you don't have to stay with the company. So somebody else
stay with the company, and you can lose, you lose hundreds of $1 millions for your company and still get the bonus.
Yeah, like I said, they're failure rewards. Howard Fineman of MSNBC and Newsweek. As always, sir, great thanks.